Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre, Chapter 5.
Fire. It was March. One night, I was in bed. But I was not asleep. The house was quiet. Suddenly, I heard a sound in the corridor outside my room. "Who's there?" I said. Nobody answered. Then I heard a strange laugh. I got out of my bed and I went quietly to the door. I listened. I heard another sound. Somebody was walking up the stairs to the top corridor. Then I heard somebody close a door. Was that Grace Poole? I said to myself. Yes, it was Grace. Why was she laughing, and why is she walking in the house at night? Is she mad? I must tell Mrs. Fairfax about this. I will speak to her now. I put on some clothes and I opened the door. There was a candle on the floor outside my room. The candle was burning. There was thick smoke in the corridor. I went into the corridor. I looked around me. The door of Mr. Rochester's bedroom was open, and the smoke was coming from Mr. Rochester's room. I ran into the room. I sat in a chair by the window. Time passed. At last, Mr. Rochester returned.
"Please don't worry, Jane," he said. "Grace Poole is a strange woman. But she won't hurt anybody tonight."
I stood up. "Good night, sir," I said. Mr. Rochester held my hand. He looked at me and he smiled.
"Thank you, my dear friend," he said. "You saved my life tonight, Jane."
"Good night, sir," I said again. I went back to my bed. I was very tired. But at first, I could not sleep. Suddenly, I understood something. I loved Mr. Rochester. He had smiled at me. He had held my hand. Did he love me? I did not know. But I thought about Mr. Rochester for a long time. I did not see Mr. Rochester the next day. He did not send for me. In the evening, I went down to Mr. S. Fairfax's sitting room. The housekeeper was looking out of the window.
"The weather has been good today," Mrs. Fairfax said. "Mr. Rochester had a good day for his journey."
His journey? Where has he gone? I asked. I was surprised.
"He has gone to Ingram Park," Mrs. Fairfax replied. "Mr. Rochester will stay there for a week or more. He has many friends. All his friends will be at Ingram Park this week."
Will there be any ladies at Ingram Park? I asked.
"Yes," Mrs. Fairfax said. "There will be many ladies there. Miss Blanche Ingram will be there. Mr. Rochester has known her for many years."
Is Miss Ingram beautiful? I asked.
"She is very beautiful," Mrs. Fairfax said.
Will Mr. Rochester marry her? I asked. Mr. S. Fairfax smiled.
"I don't know, Miss Eyre," she replied. "I don't know."
I was very unhappy. I went up to my bedroom. I looked in my mirror. "Jane Eyre," I said to myself, You are not pretty. And you are poor. Mr. Rochester will never marry you. He will marry Miss Blanche Ingram. She is a rich lady. You are a poor governess. Forget Mr. Rochester, Jane Eyre. Forget him,